One of the things that puzzles me the most about this is like, why in the world, like these days, this issue is getting political and it's getting politicized.
man.
Like, and I'm just like, why do you think that is? Like, what, like, do you have any insight into that? Like, why you think this is becoming like and maybe the answer is just because fucking everything is, but there's like nothing. I mean, there's no greater example of like what real evil is.
Yeah.
You know, people who are combating against evil, like, in your mind, do you have any sort of like insight to that, or do you have any thesis on why that is, why this is getting so politicized?
I don't know, man. I think that my guess is like people just have this tendency, especially if you're trying to get elected or stay elected, or, you know, we've really leaned towards this kind of like it's the definition of a bully, right? Like, instead of talking about like the great things I'm going to do, we're going to talk about the bad things you're going to talk shit about people, which make us look better.
Right.
Like, to me, like, it reminds me of like a middle school bully or something, right?
It's exactly what you want your kids not to do.
Yeah. And then I think that's kind of how it is. So you get the victims get left behind in the argument. So why are we not on the side of the kids? Why if there's nothing else in this world for us to rally behind, you got to start focusing on the cause and the problem, not focusing on what does this make me look like, or how can I spin this in a way to make me look better? How can, man, I'll tell you what, the nonprofit world, that place, that is cutthroat.
Vicious,
dude.
Vicious.
I couldn't even believe it, and I go to this point where when I do an SF mission, man, and like, I'll be out there and I'm like, man, all right, we got to get this bad dude. How are we going to do it? All right, let's come together as a team. Let's plan it out. Let's figure it out. All right, bam, bam, bam. Okay, we need to have some influence out here. Yeah, we're going to need about $100,000 for this. You know what I used to do? I'd go to this, like a distro office, a disbursement office. I'd go up there and I'd sign out $100,000 in cash, right? I was like this window. I was like, hey, I need $100,000. Yeah. Sign here. I'll come back with my receipts. I'm going to go get these bad guys, right?
Yeah, trust me. Yeah.
I got on the nonprofit. I'm freaking SF dude, fifth group. Like, I can get bags of money all day. Now it's like, I'm like, all right, cool. We got all these kids rescued. The fact of the matter is, man, like, we know where these kids are. I don't have the money. I'm like, where's the window? Where's the window with the bag so I can go get the kids, right? So everybody, they protect their donor base. They protect, their contacts. Like, they don't want to share them. If there's someone who's curious about how they can get involved and help, instinctually and naturally, people get into that whole politics thing of, well, man, you could support them, but we're Green Berets, man. Like, who are you gonna trust? We're veterans, man. Like, come on. These guys, like, they don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And people can't help but do that. And what it does is it breaks everything down. And I'll talk about that too a little bit. Like, you can't, in order to really to fight against this, not one organization is A, large enough, or B, has the expertise for every situation. So for human trafficking, dude, we got to work together. Uh-huh. We've got to share donations. We give, like, Air Recovery, we're not very big and we need more support, right? But we will give grants to organizations that are out doing, and they can prove that they're doing stuff. Like, oh, you guys are already in place? Why would I spend tens of thousands of donor dollars to go reestablish a network connection when you're already there? Right. Let me send like one or two operators out to understand your operation and make sure it's legitimate. And then we'll grant you the money and you report back to us. Like, but dude, it's cutthroat. Like, it is absolutely cutthroat. I couldn't believe it. Like, unbelievable.
So, like, organizations like Save the Children, organizations like UNICEF, like you in a perfect world, you guys would all be working together. Like, why wouldn't you? You guys have a common cause, correct? Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
And look, man, I know for a while, I got really into sort of like the anti-dog fighting thing. Dogs getting, my old man ran the Humane Society of the United States, and that was one of his primary focuses. And I remember there was so much hatred between PETA, the HSUS, and ASPCA. Like, they literally, like, I would hear them talk about it, and it's like they were rivals. I was like, isn't it the animals first? Like, aren't you all literally after the same thing? Mm-hmm. And it was like, and I just kept hearing it was almost like rival sports teams. And I don't know whether that's just part of the human, but for this issue specifically, the movie has become this sort of like political lightning rod for some reason, right? And I'm so puzzled by that. And look, I get it. Like, I'm a Hollywood actor, dude. Like I come from like the most left, progressive, liberal sort of world. And there's a lot of those values that, you know, I really believe in. There's a lot that I don't, you know what I mean? And I'm an American and I can believe in what I want to believe in. And I'm down to have the discussions and sit down with people who believe anything. And I think I could probably learn from them, and hopefully they can learn from me. Like that is what's great about being a part of the best country that has ever existed on God's green earth, right? So
there's not a lot of people that actually do think that way. It's so one or the other now, like,
right. And I guess what I want to examine kind of like on both sides that I really wanted to ask, and like I'm just like trying to figure out about this specifically. To me, fundamentalism or being on one side or the other not only is necessary, like in my mind, is the fucking enemy, but you are missing the point, because the point is what's going on with these. Here are these people that are helping. Here are these people that are hurting. Let's focus on that. Let's support these people and let's shed light on what the problem is. Do you agree with that? Like, is that right? Like, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what you're talking about. Is the way it needs to be, right? But that's what happens. Is it like I was saying, it gets away from the victims and the problem, and it starts talking about the individuals. And you can make anything work nowadays,
right?
And you know, my wife and I had someone like put this whole presentation together on us, like how we're doing like trafficking for Richard Branson or something crazy. You know, it's like, I was looking at it, I was like, what's it, man? And my heart goes out to Tim too, because like that, something that I feel so passionate about, and we like as a family, like feel so passionate about. And then someone's going to try to say you're doing that exact thing for like, why, you know, like it doesn't make any sense.
What is the motivation?
Yeah. Like why? Like, you know, in my mind and my heart, I'm like, man, I'm like, you know, my wife laughs at me, like, cause I suck at haters. I'm like, man, they get me so mad. Like, why would they think that? She's like, no, you got to leave it alone, you know? And then Tim, that's it, man. He's like a lightning rod. And this dude, when I sit there and I talk to him, like me to you, in his mind, when he's talking to me, all I can think of in his head, he's like, gotta rescue kids, gotta rescue kids, gotta rescue kids. You know, for better or worse, he's become like the face of anti-human trafficking, especially with this movie.
Yep.
And with anybody or anything like that, the scrutiny for whatever motivation is going to come, and whatever affiliations, or when you talk about like Donald Trump and the Trump administration, like Tim was an advisor to him. Donald Trump was actually really great when it comes to policies for anti-human trafficking. He was very supportive of organizations that were doing anti-human trafficking. So doesn't it make sense if your mission and goal is to combat trafficking, to work with people that are helping you do it? You know, so now, boom, you know, Tim is Trump or whatever. So, oh, I don't like Trump, so I can't like Tim, and Tim is attached to this organization and he sits on the board of Ariel, so I can't like Ariel. It's like, come on, man, grow up.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Yeah. You're spending so much energy on dumb shit. Let's focus on the problem and the kids. Let's work together. You're not going to like everything about me. I'm not going to like everything about you.
That's right.
You're going to have a very negative life if all you do is focus on negativity.
That's right.
Come on, man. Like, I know we could beat our heads in the wall all day long for this. And that's why I talk about those anchors, man. Just, you got to cut them. I got, you know, friends of mine that just trying to, you know, talk to me and be like, oh, you're doing things all wrong. Like, you know, people are saying this about you. And I'm like, dude, I don't got time for that.
Yeah.
A book comes to mind. And when I was kind of on my finding myself and purpose and really connecting, and my wife really helped me through that, one of the first books she ever had me read was called Outwitting the Devil from Napoleon Hill. And it's an interesting book. And he sits down, much like we are here, and he's conducting an interview with the devil. And in the interview, it's called Outwitting the Devil because he's trying to figure out the devil's strategy against humanity. It's a really cool book, and it was written years and years ago. Wow. And at the end of the day, the theme comes to is like, the devil doesn't want to kill you. He doesn't want to end you right there. He wants to make you drift. He wants to distract you. He wants you to go away from your calling. He wants you to talk about things that aren't relevant. He wants to dilute issues. He wants to do all of this. That's when he's winning. And that's what we see here is you got to cut through all the noise. Yep. You got to cut through all what people are saying, the stereotypes, the political affiliations, the race, the gender, whatever it is. You got to cut through that, and you got to focus on the kids. Yep. That's it. That's all there is to it. And I think that it's, for whatever reason or not, whatever you believe spiritually or not, there is much distraction around really great causes and really great people fighting those causes. And let's be real. There's no perfect human being. I've done terrible things in my life.
Sure, me too.
If you're living a life trying to atone for things you did in the past, and I know a lot of military people can, you can probably relate to that too.
Totally, man.
That's still a great life, man.
That's it, brother. What would you say to somebody who was skeptical of the work you do or skeptical of Ariel? Because as this grows, you know, maybe you're going to have to deal with a lot of the things that Tim deals with. What would you say to them to sort of explain what it is you do, what it is you're about? I mean, I know you've already done that a little bit, but what would you say to, for lack of a better word, the haters? Go fuck yourself.
No.
Right on, brother.
No, man, I would say, I'd say you have to eliminate distraction, man. And you cannot believe everything that's given to you at face value, especially if you're one of the people that are getting your news feeds from social media platforms and all of that stuff. Like, really read into the problem. There's a lot of great reports that come out. The Trafficking in Persons report, the State Department puts that out every year. Homeland Security has a lot of great information on trafficking. You can rates like different countries and what's going on inside of the countries. Like, do the research yourself, and if find a cause that doesn't even have to be, everybody should be behind anti-trafficking, but there's a lot of things that happen in this world that contribute to trafficking, Let's focus on the good and try to not focus on the negative, right? Do your own research. Most people are too lazy to, but do your own research.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's John, Bam Bam the dog. First, on behalf of both of us and everybody from the Real Ones team, I just want to sincerely thank you guys for tuning in. The folks that I bring on the show, they're family to me, and being able to tell their stories and bringing you into their world is something I'm just super proud of, and again, grateful that you guys tune in. We've decided we want to take things just a step further. It's a Patreon community, and basically what that means is if you become part of this community, look, I already bored Bam Bam. If you want to become a part of this community, you're going to be able to hear episodes early and all that, ad-free and all that good stuff. But there's all this behind-the-scenes footage, all this stuff that we've shot that really brings you into the folks that we've had on the show, really brings you into their world. Live chats with me and the folks that I bring on the show to talk about their world, talk about the issues that they're dealing with, about their triumphs and their tragedies. Just go to Patreon/RealOnes on this website that you see right there, right on the screen, that's right in front of you. This whole idea was something about building bridges and bringing people together and bringing folks that often don't get the mic and giving the mic to them. So the fact that you guys tune in means the world. Anyways, again, thank you. Be good to each other out there. Rock and roll.